Hello and welcome to another video. It's a special kind of video, not so much focused on particular planes or particular journeys or particular modes of transport, but talking a little bit about this channel here on YouTube.
Traveling the world on planes, trains, trams, and more. Join Mark Hopwood as he shows you some of the great journeys he's made. Let's travel to a whole variety of destinations. Remember to drop your comment below, like and subscribe, turn on the notification button, and never miss a video.
Well, I was absolutely delighted earlier this week to get to 2,500 subscribers. You might think, Mark, that's really not a very big deal at all. There are lots of people with a lot more than 2,500 subscribers. But I think for me, on my journey on YouTube, it's a reasonable achievement. So I'm just allowing myself a small little celebration as my channel makes a bit of progress. The channel was monetized earlier last year. That earns me a few pence each month, really not very much at all, but again, another step forward. Now, I thought I'd use this video just to look back on last year, talk about some of the things that I did, that I enjoyed, that I presented on the channel, and talk a little bit about my plans for 2025. So I hope that's useful and that you will enjoy listening to me take you through this. So last year in 2024, on the channel, I was able to bring you some videos from a trip I made at the end of the previous year out to Australia, out on Qatar Airways via Doha. A little bit of my travel in Australia, probably not as much as I'd have liked, but it was a family holiday. And of course, that's one of the challenges I face. I know there are lots of full-time YouTubers, and I'm not saying that I'm ever going to be in that league because my production talents are mediocre, but I also have a job to do. It's a fairly busy job. Some of you know what that job is, and it keeps me occupied with some challenges, and it also gives me some restrictions because I can't really do YouTube videos about my work or about my business or about other people's businesses in that realm, because if I do work around that on video, it really needs to be for my company. And some of you I know follow me on LinkedIn as well, and you're aware that I do regular updates on LinkedIn about my job. So that's a constraint, and I've got a lovely family who I love very much, but they keep me pretty busy. There's lots to do, lots that I enjoy doing with them, and it does mean that the time I have for making videos is limited, and also my travels are very much based around them, so that constrains the content slightly. Anyway, I was talking about Australia. Great trip to Australia. I did actually travel on the train, the XPT, from Sydney to Melbourne, but I didn't really get much footage of that, so that's probably a opportunity I missed out on that perhaps I regret. Did cover an internal flight with Qantas in Australia. I didn't cover the day I spent in the Virgin Australia lounge in Melbourne airport when they cancelled my flight at 12 o'clock and rebooked us on a flight at 8:50 in the evening. Maybe I should have done, but I didn't. And then my flight on the Finnair A330 to Singapore, and my flight back to London with BA on the 777. I did get a trip out over to it was largely US, a trip based on redemptions with Avios. I booked myself on British Airways on the A350 to Las Vegas. I could only find premium economy or World Traveller Plus seats. I wasn't so sure. I was entirely looking forward to such a long flight in World Traveller Plus, but on my way to the airport, British Airways upgraded me into the Club World cabin with a club suite on the A350. So that was a great experience, and thanks for that. BA overnight in Vegas, looking up Brightline, which is going to construct a new railway, Brightline West from Vegas to LA. I was lucky enough to have a look round the construction site, did a video on LinkedIn for that. Southwest Airlines, which was an interesting experience, really enjoyed that, but the video didn't do very well. Not so sure why, but nobody interested in Southwest Airlines. Across to San Diego, and then the Railway Museum, and then a short flight on United Express, which I didn't video, back to LA into the Hyatt Regency overnight to the very famous plane spotting location at the In-N-Out Burger just outside LAX, and then on the afternoon flight with Qatar across America, the Atlantic, over Europe and down to Doha. Overnight in Doha with a video, of course, on that flight, and then back from Doha to London Heathrow, actually arriving at Heathrow on the evening that all the E-gates crashed, and I just slipped through before the whole thing went completely chaotic. So that was an interesting video. Last summer I headed out to Antalya, and I did get some footage for the British Airways flight. That's going to be one of my next videos. And I also flew, I had a day release from the sea and the swimming pools, and I took a day trip on my own from Antalya to Istanbul and back. Quite interesting out on the 737, due to come back with Turkish Airlines on the A350, but they substituted the aircraft less than an hour, I think, before departure for a 777. I'm going to cover that in the video, and a little bit about the trains and trams that I saw and the ferries in Istanbul, which was really fascinating. So there's a few things there, and many of you are very much aware that I've been producing a series of videos through the autumn up to Christmas and into the new year about the British Airways fleet. They've actually been some of my most successful videos. They do require a bit of work and a bit of attention, but I can get on with that when I'm doing other things at home. It doesn't require a dedicated trip halfway around the world. So I'm going to try and carry on with those videos because they seem to be appreciated. They get quite a lot of likes. I've had some nice feedback, and there isn't anyone else out there doing that, which I think is one of the keys to success on YouTube, isn't it? Is to find something that people are not doing on other channels. And I also want to talk about a bit about British Airways and what they're up to with the Executive Club, which was another successful video. I want to talk about the club suite fitment on their fleet. And I've been asked as well if I could consider producing a video to compare the British Airways fleet today with the British Airways fleet 25, 30 years ago, which sounds like an interesting challenge. It will require quite a bit of research, but I can see why that would be quite interesting. So what else have I got planned on Mark's Trains, Planes and Trams over the next year? Well, the British Airways Executive Club changes have certainly been a disappointment to me, a disappointment to many of you and many other people who were enjoying the challenge of collecting tier points. And as many have said, it wasn't just making the journeys, it was the challenge of planning it, researching it, finding the deals, finding the way of collecting tier points while spending relatively little money. And British Airways don't seem to have found that at all amusing and have pretty much brought it to an end. But nonetheless, I had some trips already planned with the family, and I've got a trip planned myself. So at Easter, I will be heading out on British Airways to Philadelphia on an Airbus A350 overnight in Philadelphia Airport, and then on an American flight. It's currently planned, I think, for a 737 down to Orlando. Classic Florida holiday, but we're then jumping on one of the new Royal Caribbean cruise ships for a 3-day cruise out to the Bahamas and back, and then flying from Orlando to Atlanta on Delta on a 757. Now, I just was not able to get myself up to Manchester to do the last Jet 2 757 flight. Again, if I didn't have a job like the job I've got, if I didn't have commitments to my family, I'd probably have gone. Just wasn't possible. So I really, am keen to find a way of getting on a 757. So Delta 757, hopefully do a video for that. Couple of days in Atlanta and then back with British Airways on a 777. I've got a flight that I've booked using redemption points on my own at the beginning of May. I'll be heading out London to Doha with Qatar on a 380, and then on to Bangkok with another 380 overnight in Bangkok, and then I'm flying on Emirates on their A380 in first class at a very cheap price, which I'm sure I'll do a video for, across to Hong Kong, flight just over a couple of hours. I've got a night and a day in Hong Kong, and then back to London via Doha with Qatar. So looking forward to that. Short and sweet. I just can't get away for long trips. I don't really want to leave the family for long periods of time. We want to use my annual leave together generally, but that's a trip I've been able to fit in around a long weekend. Nothing booked for the summer, but probably a couple of trips in Europe, and then in October half term I've got to get myself across to Las Vegas for an event the family are very keen to go to. So that's a British Airways flight on the Airbus A350, and then hoping to get away at Christmas with another BA holiday. So that's what 2025 looks like, and that will hopefully give me quite a bit of content for a number of videos, as well as perhaps one or two shorter trips, one or two ad hoc trips that I'm thinking about. Always happy to get your comments, your thoughts about things you'd like me to cover on the video. Always looking for angles to make the videos a little bit different. One of the things that I like to talk about a bit is the routing of the aircraft, sometimes talk about the air traffic control clearance. And I know a couple of people have commented to me that it's good to cover some of that, because other YouTubers don't always talk about that aspect of the flight, even if I do go on about it a little bit. And it's about trying to make things different, bring a bit of originality, and do some stuff that you might not see on other videos. So what have I done? I've said thank you very much indeed for subscribing to the channel. Thanks for getting me to 2,500 subscribers. Thanks for your support last year. I gave you a quick run through there of some of the things that I covered, and then a bit about 2025. The other thing I'm also thinking of doing, my first ever video on this channel was a pretty amateurish effort talking about my love for the 747s, and I filmed it from Kemble at a time when BA had flown their 747s to Kemble, and I stood in front of a line of 747s with their engines removed that were about to be scrapped. I subsequently did in 2023 a flight on a Lufthansa 747, and I thought I might just refresh some of that footage, bring it back to life in a new video and talk about the 747s from my perspective in 2025. I think some of you might like that. I'm conscious many of you have perhaps subscribed to Mark's Trains, Planes and Trams for different reasons. I've got some people very keen to see those British Airways fleet updates. Some people I know like to see some stuff about trains. Some people enjoy the flight reviews. I did do a poll on my channel over Christmas. Many of you saw it and took part, saying, should I split off the British Airways fleet reviews into a new channel and have two channels? That had some support, but overall 62% against 38% in favour. So that's a bit difficult, because quite a few of you thought that might be a good idea, but on balance I'm not going to do it. But I would just ask for your patience as I do videos about slightly different subjects, and I break some of the guidance they say on YouTube is find your niche and stick to it, because I do cover 2 or 3 different areas around planes and trains on the channel, but hopefully we can make that work. I'm hoping I can find the time to make some more videos in 2025. I look forward to engaging with you here on YouTube. Thanks for your time, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all with another video very soon.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and click the notification button so you don't miss any of the great trips Mark has coming your way on this YouTube channel.